Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. This is your business hour with Fred Arnold on AM 1220 KHTS. I'm with my friend and fellow provisor, Michael Preston. Michael Preston is a business coach and trainer with Focal Point Business Coach and Training. I'm passionate about this topic because I believe it's important, no matter who you are, is to have a coach or a mentor or someone helping guide you through the process of life. And if you own a business or run a business, or everybody does, right? Even if you're an at-home mom or dad,
yeah,
you got the business of running that household.
It's maybe even more important.
Yeah,
at the
you're
end
the
of the day,
CEO.
right?
Yeah, you're the
absolutely.
CEO. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me here today.
Absolutely. So what's the difference between a coach and a consultant?
It's a great question. I get that one a lot because I think a lot of people, in athletics, we understand coaching, but we don't necessarily hear that all the time in business. And so I like to use the old adage with a twist that I think, to me, a consultant comes in and catches a fish for you. And as a coach, I come in and I'm teaching you how to teach other people to fish for you. And so that's kind of a significant difference, right? As a business owner, it's an entirely different job, and they've never really had training in that sort of thing. So we try and help close that gap.
And that's a mentality, right? Teach a man, give a man a fish, feed him for a day,
right?
Or a woman.
Yeah.
Teach him to fish, feed him for a lifetime, and that's the same thing with coaching. If you can tap into your greatness and allow others to help you flourish your business, create an environment that's amazing. That's so important. And that goes to really the question I want to talk to you, and that is entrepreneurs. Yeah, where are they most challenged? Where can they strive to be better?
Yeah.
Because we talked about this extensively at lunch, and we went on for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Well, it's you mentioned mindset just in general, and you're right, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, just having the right mindset is really important. And I would say from that perspective, one thing I run into a lot is that most entrepreneurs, most business owners actually have a job and not a business, if that makes sense.
They're looking at it as their profession that they were a genius at. They were the best of the best, and then they opened up a company, but they don't keep doing their genius. They're doing other things, aren't they?
Yes. They end up, what we would say, working in the business nonstop. Mm-hmm. And so a great litmus test is if somebody were to disappear for 6 weeks, 6 months from their business, what would they return to? In most cases, right, a job is something that you work at and you get paid, and a business is something you own that, whether you are involved or not, continues to generate income for you. And so, even dentists and lawyers and highly trained professionals are usually at the mercy of what comes next. There's really nothing they can walk away from, and so that makes it really difficult. So for the average business owner, you're right, they were turning wrenches not long ago. Now they own their own mechanic store, and it's such a hard transition because it's a business, it's a job like no others. So we really try and help with that transition.
Let's talk about the issues they're faced with. One I'll throw out there, being familiar, is doing things that aren't your genius or your highest and best use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so every business is a little different, right? So conversations always change. But for us, I would say there's a couple of fundamental components. They're not necessarily in any order, but I would say, number one, how they invest their time. A great quote by John Wooden, never mistake activity for achievement. And oftentimes, any business owner will tell you how busy they are. They can't find a minute in the day to kind of do anything, but they're not getting the results out of their business. So one area we focus on is helping them understand where can they put their time and their energy in order to get the kind of results that they're looking for, right? That make their business predictable and repeatable, which is really important. Another section would be their team, right? How is it that there was a study done by Bain not long ago, 65% of all employees suggest that they're disengaged from their work. Well, that's huge. For most businesses, that's the number one expense on the books is their human resources. So to help improve productivity, to develop a culture that makes people want to be there and feel a purposeful part of what they do, goes right to the bottom line, right? That's profitability and just excitement about being there.
I want to ask you about the business plan, because one thing that I think entrepreneurs need to continuously do is to put together the business plan, because by doing so, you can see where you need to fill the gap with other resources, which kind of leads you down the path of running the business versus working in the business.
It's always a little amazing to me when you talk to people, really high percentage just don't have a plan in place. And it's not that you need to pick that plan up and look at it all day, every day and follow it to the letter, but what an excellent exercise to go through. Statistically, they say businesses that do go through that see a 36% improvement in results. And it's because you have an opportunity when emotions are low and you're not faced in, the heat of the moment to make decisions.
Yeah, right.
Make decisions on which direction that you're going to turn. And so, doing that strategic plan or your business plan really helps you answer those questions up front so that, when you come to that fork in the road, which is the best way to go. And it reduces the stress, the frustration, the uncertainty, and improves results at the same time. So a really important component.
Let's talk about people.
Okay.
In some cases, entrepreneurs are new, and they don't realize that, can't afford a full-time employee, but a lot of times you can hire, and I always use as an example as a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Unless you're actually a CPA or a bookkeeper starting a CPA or bookkeeping firm, you don't want to be doing that, but you want to keep a close eye on the books.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between the two because that's something that's repetitive that takes a lot of time.
It's a great point, and it really is. So we attack that in a couple of different ways. One would be, where do you put your time? And number one, understanding, let's say, what your high-value activities are, the areas that, things that an owner can do, that only an owner can do, that have a real impact on the business, right? Setting conditions for success in your business pays extremely well. Doing things like bookkeeping, no offense to bookkeepers, they do an excellent job and a service, but they're going to know it better, they're going to do it better, they're going to do it in less time. So it's a point of leverage. More efficiently. And so, in general, what we would call a founder's trap, because there is a moment when you first get started, you're pretty much doing everything. And so for a second, that's okay. But the struggle should be consistently trying to diverge from that, getting points of leverage in your business, things like finding somebody else that'll do it really at less of a cost at the end of the day, given what else you could do with your time.
And that goes to something I think all entrepreneurs need to look at, salespeople, professionals, is what's your dollar producing activities or what's your most efficient producing activities, because you could be an engineer and that could be designing code, you could be in sales, that could be selling, if you could be an inventor, that could be inventing and not doing other things in the business. Dollar producing activities that drive revenue in the firm.
Every job, every business has what we would call critical success factors, right? And so we use that terminology because if at any one of those points that there's kind of a fail or something that you really can't do, almost the entire business kind of comes to a halt, or you really, really impact your ability to produce. And so if you're not engaged in those activities, you're not moving the business forward. And so taking some time to understand that, because you may or may not be surprised that people don't necessarily have a good handle on how they are the most impactful or productive in their business.
Yeah, love that. We are already out of time.
Okay.
We went through that really quickly.
Yeah.
We could certainly go a whole show on this, because I think that having a coach and having somebody that can train you and your team on excellence is so important. Michael, those who want to reach out to you, how can they get you?
Okay. Of course, they could just give me a call. Phone number is 310-994-7037. They could go to my website, mdpcoaching.com, or, of course, email me. But I think one of those two will be able to get a hold of me.
All right, great. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Preston, business coach and trainer, Focal Point Business Coach and Training. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Business Spotlight. This show is Fred Arnold on AM 1220 KHTS.